Hello and welcome back to another book review. What I have for you here today is a beautiful copy of The Cloud of Unknowing, published by Black Letter Press. And this book is gorgeous. The cover's gorgeous. The contents are remarkable. But I have to address it here. This dark stain that you see on the cover. Do your best to ignore it. I try to, but it's very painful for me. Long story short, I had a stack of books on my desk with this book next to it, and headphones had fallen on and rested on it, and I don't know if it was the oils in the leather or what happened, but some sort of reaction or something soaked into the book, and I'm left with that. Just ruined this beautiful cover, so just ignore that. I'm gonna try but yeah, let's just dive in here. We can see that we have this really nice gold text and some simple stars and sun with some rays that actually extend onto the spine. Shot of the spine here. And even onto the back cover ever so slightly with a simple blue star in the center. It's a hardcover edition, and it's slate gray, or not slate gray, slate blue, and the color is being picked up fairly accurately by the camera, so it's always nice. Opening it up, we have some simple black end pages and the cover page, the contents page here. So if you don't know or are unfamiliar with the Cloud of Unknowing, it was, it's a mystical Christian text that was originally written in the 14th century by an unknown author, though it's widely believed to have been a monk. And this book basically serves as a handbook for contemplative prayer, with some pretty thorough instructions on how to approach divinity, having an authentic experience with God. And the author, he writes with a lot of... It's very clear that he is writing from experience with a lot of knowledge behind the subject, so he expresses, this book isn't for everybody, and he's actually very explicit in his and who should read this book and who should not read this book. He refers to the reader a wretch, and among other things. So, but yeah, I really enjoyed this edition by Black Letter Press because they went with the translation. Well, originally the book was written in Middle English, which is very difficult to read from a modern perspective, so they went with a translation by John Watkins, who what he did was he actually kept the words the same and then just updated the spelling, so we don't have to worry so much of the original translation kind of getting lost in a more modern form of language, which is nice. Having difficulty focusing here, apologies. But yeah, there's still lots of thee, thy, and thou, so if that's not, that particular style of writing doesn't appeal to you, you probably won't like this book too much, and I would just recommend a more modern translation. But yeah, this book is very insightful. There's lots of Eastern thoughts kind of infiltrating Western traditions. The author talks about having to transcend the ego to enter contemplative prayer, because whatever you think you know about divinity, it's wrong, and that if you want to have an authentic experience with God, you can't be full of preconceived ideas of what God is. And if you do that, then you're kind of ostracizing yourself from experiencing the divine, the true divine anyway. So the author talks about having to hold yourself between these two clouds, the cloud of forgetting, which is below you, and the cloud of unknowing, which is above you, and existing in this the place of nowhere, which is it kind of reminds me of the void in the Hindu teachings. Another way of thinking about it is the quantum field in a kind of a metaphysical sense. And when you're in this, if you're able to transcend your ego and hold yourself in this place of nowhere, then that's where true prayer comes from. And true prayer, he explains, is a prayer from the spirit. So yeah, it was a very insightful read. I really did enjoy this. If you enjoy Christian mysticism, then you'll probably really like this book if you haven't already read it or heard about it. But yeah, this, as you can see, the text is quite clear, very crisp, which is nice. Sometimes you get books, these older books, they're facsimiles, and the text can be very difficult to read, but that's not the case at all with this. Even for how small the book is, it's pretty tiny. I think roughly like maybe 4 inches by 6 inches. Blackletter Press tends to have books that are the same size. I have a couple others by them, and they're the same size as well. So, but yeah, it's a very, very nice little book to read. Really enjoyed the knowledge the author shared in this, and I would recommend it if you're into Christian mysticism, esotericism, meditation, any sort of new age topic, I suppose. But if you're not keen on Christian terminology, then as I said, you probably wouldn't like this book too much. But yeah, that's all I really have to say about this one. Thank you for joining me. I hope you were able to look past this god awful stain. But yeah, I'll see you in the next one. Take care.